everyone, my name's Gordon for Kite Reviews, and today I've got a really exciting kite for us to look at. This is called the Triangulation. It's by HQ. This is the smaller version, which is about 7 feet, which is pretty big as you can see. It does come in a larger version. I believe that's a Kitty Hawk Kites exclusive. This one I did buy at Kitty Hawk Kites, although I think you can buy it other places because it's a generic HQ. But the big one is, I think, a Kitty Hawk Kites only exclusive. This smaller version, though, can be had for $60, which I think is a bargain. And the larger one is $200. We'll talk a little bit about that. For your money, you get the kite, obviously, here, and then it comes in this package here, which is, frankly speaking, pretty enormous. Basically, what happens is this spar right here is one piece, and so it doesn't come apart. And so that is kind of like the characteristic length that has to fit within the bag. The bag does come with a ring with some flying lines, so it is ready to fly, which is a good perk. But yeah, it has a very large bag. It's bigger than, if you are familiar with like a Kitty Hawk Kites bag. It's bigger than that. It's longer than that by about 3-4 inches. So that's just something to keep in mind, that maybe this isn't going to be your backpack kite, just because it's so big, even folded up. But it's a great kite regardless. So and the packaging works great. I don't have any complaints there. So besides the fact that it's maybe a little bit big. So these are one piece, and so the assembly process is actually faster than you might think. Basically, each of these 3 layers is its own delta kite, and so all you have to do is put in the cross piece for each of those 3 things, which is actually pretty easy. And so it actually assembles really quickly for how big and complex the kite is. Again, with the caveat that it doesn't pack down as small as even something like a 7, like a Z7, which is maybe of similar size. But yeah, so this is basically like 3 deltas, but instead of a keel, it runs these double keels, which kind of gives you a little bit of a box kite feel in the middle. I think it looks great, very cool. They recently redid the colors just a couple years ago, so the colors I think are much improved over the older version. The older version had like the colors arranged this way rather than this way. I think this is a much better fit. It is kind of interesting because this is a bit of a high wind kite. I bought it specifically to be a high wind kite in my collection. I don't have a lot of impressive high wind kites in my collection. I have ones that work well in high wind, but I don't have any like showstoppers in high wind, and so I bought this one as that, and I gotta say I love it. It, like I said, does not really fly in low wind, and by this I mean 9-10 miles an hour is where this thing starts to work as a kite. Below that it doesn't. I have heard that the bigger version does work in lower wind, but this version, the smaller version, does not. It really is a medium to high wind kite. It has a lot of pull, as one might expect. And it also has an interesting tendency where it, like deltas will usually, in high wind, they kind of flatten out, and, maybe not fully flat, but they do flatten out as the wind picks up. This kite kind of never flattens out. It almost is always flying at this, 45-degree angle of attack on the wing. So it almost always kind of actually looks like it does hanging right now. And this is regardless of the angle of the line that you have to it. The kite just always flies like that, which is, in my opinion, not the most aesthetically pleasing thing. In order to try and fix that, I have tried and experimented with adding tails, but there isn't really a great place on there to put tails on the structure of the kite, so I ended up putting them on the bridle, which I was hoping would kind of pull the bottom of the kite in and maybe cause it to fly, more level like this, by adding drag down here. But it didn't really do anything. On the plus side, though, this thing is going to be able to pull up all of your favorite stuff. It has great pull, great lift. especially in high wind. So, pluses and minuses. If you can deal with that angle of attack thing, you'll be fine. And that's just the way it normally flies. So, maybe that's a me thing. I don't know. Anyway, I think it's a great kite. Like I said, I bought it as a high wind specialist, and for that, it's great. I would highly recommend it to anybody. And at $60, I think it's a no-brainer if you're looking for a cool high wind kite. Not just a kite that will survive at the high wind, but will really truly thrive at high wind. Much like dragon kites and things like that. This thing is great. It also doesn't come with any tails. It doesn't need any tails. It's extremely stable, even in pretty variable winds. Like I said, I've experimented with extra tails, and it definitely has the pull to pull any kind of tail you want to put on it. And so you could put tails on it, like I have, but you don't need to, which is kind of a nice feature that it's just that stable. I think that comes from these tunnels here. It's basically a delta with double keels, right? So I think you're getting some extra stability from kind of the box nature of the center of the kite. But yeah, like I said, as a high wind specialist, I cannot fault this kite. The price is right. It looks great. It looks special and different. It flies a little bit special and different. It has plenty of pull to pull up any sort of accoutrement that you want to put on it. And it does that all for an affordable price. So, I can't fault it. But you do have to go in knowing that this kite is not going to work in low wind. So, I would not recommend it as your only kite. I would definitely look at some other lower wind or even medium wind kites in order to fulfill, flying on those kind of days. So, with that, I think I'll conclude my review here of the HQ Triangulation. My name's Gordon for Kite Reviews. Thanks for watching.